We'll talk about it later.
Sure. I figured that one.
All right. Hey, it caught that. That's good. Hey, I think we're live. This is perfect.
I mean, it said we were live. It's telling me meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube.
Absolutely. All right, perfect. So here's what we're gonna do since we are now live streaming on YouTube. Got it. Go there. And welcome to Life Change Lounge. I think every time we do Life Change Lounge, every time we do anything, it's always an experience.
That it is.
We always
have a guest.
The technical difficulty. What people don't know, I'm gonna admit this, and then we'll keep going with our life. What up, little one? Is that nobody sees the freak out behind the scenes until like the very end, except for you guys. So we got this going. So welcome. I'm glad y'all here.
Glad to be
Thanks.
here.
I'm glad to be here.
So excited.
As you saw, I have littles running around, so
Little
she might be in and out. She,
Oh,
you know,
good.
small attention span.
Yeah. Well, no, she just wants to be the center of attention, I think. So
Correct. I was trying to be nice.
So we are live and recording for future reference. This is Life Change Lounge with our Life Change Institute crew, part of the crew. This is not the entire team. We've got Andrew behind the scenes back there doing the camera work and the video work. So send all the complaints about him to lifechangeinstitute@gmail.com. And we've got a special night. This was not my idea. Whose idea was this?
Mine.
You get all the credit. All the credit.
Always.
Have to say all.
It was a team effort, actually. I think Jasmine also suggested it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to Nicaragua in July, and we're able to serve there with a couple of friends of ours. And so somebody's bright idea, collective bright ideas that was not mine, said we should wrap this up with being able to broadcast this and talk to everybody that was able to sponsor us and help support us as we went and worked and served and did some amazing work.
One thing that I've noticed too is that I've had a lot of questions from those supporters asking, you know, like, what did you do and how did it go and where do we go from here? And so I was just like, I was in agreement with us getting together and talking about those things just so that I can say, hey, you know what, collectively just go to this.
Just watch this.
Just watch this video. We'll get an idea, you know, because it's not just my experience. It's all of our experiences.
So para los hermanos y hermanas, la familia que tenemos en Nicaragua.
Yes.
Bienvenido.
Yes,
Hola.
Para toda mi gente que están en Nica, bienvenidos y gracias por escuchar lo que vamos a decir esta noche y para ver este video. Quizás ustedes pueden mandar preguntas y decir algo bueno de nosotros, parte de nosotros, pues gracias. Pero vamos a tener este video en el canal YouTube de nosotros, en el Facebook, en el Instagram y todo. Pues chequear todo eso en Life Change Institute. Gracias. Y'all don't know none, I said.
Gracias. Thank you for watching.
I know you said Facebook and YouTube and Life Change Institute. So,
and that in a nutshell is how this trip went, right?
Who says?
Listen, in fairness, I prefaced this trip with, I know very little Spanish. I know donde baños, which is not even completely correct.
Nope.
And
Not a little bit.
another sentence that I'm not sure I should repeat. So
Probably shouldn't. So I'm praying that we can, when we broadcast this, we'll have it closed captioned or subtitled in Spanish for our friends in Nicaragua. And we just wanted to say a special shout out. And we'll be talking a lot about y'all, but we'll do this in English just so that we're all comfortable with it. In true Life Change Lounge fashion, we will have try to
chaos.
Questions. What happened?
Nothing. I said chaos. That's
chaos.
it.
No, that's the before and after. During, we try to act like we know what we're doing. We will try to field questions from our Facebook stream, from our YouTube stream. This will be loaded up later in our YouTube channel. It'll be shared also on our Facebook channel. Right now, we don't got much of any of that, but
We're live on YouTube. We're just, I don't know if we're on Facebook.
all right, we're trying to get there.
the password to your phone.
Oh, I mean, I'll just do it since we're live and just real. We can do that. I mean, I'll get stuff.
Just on live internet.
Actually,
It's fine.
you keep talking and I'll go.
So while we're doing this, just send in the questions, comments, and even later on, if you catch this on a recording later on, send in questions and comments, and I'll have my team introduce themselves. I'll have you say who you are, maybe just a little something about yourself. I don't know, figure it out. And then in common Life Change Lounge fashion, we'll answer 2 questions. Yes, you can jump in. Common Life Change Lounge fashion, we'll answer 2 questions. Only 2 scripted questions out of this. To me, or what was my life change moment? Obviously, we're talking about Nicaragua. So what was the life change moment within Nicaragua or about this trip or something like that? Because clearly this has a certain topic. And then the wrap-up question is, to me, life change means, I'm going to tweak that one a little bit. Yeah, I didn't know I was doing this, so good luck. To me, life change in Nicaragua, both the team and life change in Nicaragua means blank. All right, so we'll come back around to that. Cool, and we got about an hour to do this.
Okay, well, I'll have to think about it because I don't know.
I'll distract you as much as possible.
Thank
So
you, appreciate
tell
it.
me who you are on the screen and why you're not with us.
Oh, okay. So I'm Alex Wall, LCSW. I'm not with them because I actually live 2 hours away, unfortunately. Yeah, and Salo said, hey, we're going to Nicaragua in July. And I was like, okay. And he was like, it's a missionary trip. And I was like, okay, you said travel. I'm there. I'm not a Christian. It's fine. I'm there.
And yet you went and you had quite of an experience. I'll say that, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that story later.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. So thank you. I'm glad you're with us. Tell me who you are, why are you here and all that.
My name is Jennifer. I'm the executive assistant for Life Change Institute. I'm here because Sal had a crazy idea that we should all go to Nicaragua, and I'm crazy enough to agree. So here we are.
I'm not liking this theme. Like anything that starts with Sal had a crazy idea.
Sal had a crazy idea to form Life Change Institute.
Yo,
Sal had a crazy idea to have all of us be part of the team, and it is the most life-changing and amazing experience of my life. So
not liking that any sentence starts with that, because there's many other sentences that started with Sal had a crazy idea, which we will get to later. And that doesn't always turn out well.
No,
in this case, it's definitely turned out amazing.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
You tell them.
So hi, everybody. I'm Sophie Henderson. I'm a licensed professional counselor, COO of Life Change Institute. So Salo had this crazy idea, first with, should we do this? What do you think? And I'm like, oh, I like the idea of taking Life Change International. I do think that this would be phenomenal. And he came with this idea back in December, and I was like, that's pretty badass. I can't wait. I think this would be great. And it was a life-changing experience.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's no doubt.
It absolutely was.
I'll say, right?
Yeah.
And y'all know me, I'm Salo Ortiz. Salo had this crazy idea. And I just followed him because I listened to whatever he says. And, I'm still listening to him, and I'm in therapy as a result. So thank you, Salo.
I think we all are.
So look, we no lie, like we had this crazy idea to go to Nicaragua. You're right, it was my dream. We have a special partner down there, Connect Nicaragua, right? We're repping, one of us is repping the shirt for Life Change Connect and has the Connect logo. So our friends down there, Katie and Larry's, run Connect Nicaragua, and we said, hey, we want to come visit and we want to do some things. And they were crazy enough to accept us. So shout out to Katie and Larry's, shout out to the team down there for Connect Nicaragua and everything they're doing. And so we went down and had an experience. I think one of the bigger things before we even get to the question is that I had challenged everybody to raise funds as much as possible to treat this like a mission trip. They are a Christian ministry down there. And I wanted this to be the experience of being able to ask other people to be a part of our journey. It's not just to tell stories or not just to watch it on, our socials or whatever, but to be a part of our journey financially and prayerfully, which is a challenge. It was a challenge for Alex, a challenge for us to ask other people to be a part of our journey, right? Like, was that crazy?
Another one of Salo's crazy ideas
Right.
was to put out publicly and that we are doing this, and like he said, ask for donations and prayers. And Alex and I had many conversations that yeah, we're not doing this, but we did. And this is one of my most life-changing things. People I never imagined that, I mean, just the amount of support we received once we put those out was heartwarming, and just I can't thank everybody enough. And Salo gets thank you for that too, because he did say watch what happens, and he was absolutely correct.
Well, and it's just being able to see that people supported us, not just as a team, but supported the work that we wanted to do, supported that they couldn't necessarily probably go with us, but that they wanted to see you thrive and do some things. And so this was our thank you guys' idea, but our thank you to you guys, whoever sponsored and supported us from this team. I was able to take my family the first week. So whoever sponsored me and my family, my wife, my girls to go, and then who sponsored you guys to come down, I think was a really big thing. And we just wanted to say thank you. But how do you thank so many people? It's hard to send out individualized thank you letters and keep going. So thank you, and that's the first thing. We just want to. And I know we'll give shout outs at the end, but thank you for being able to receive us and the people that they were interacting with down there. So ladies, what was your life change moment? What was your life change moment regarding the trip, or when you got there overall? Like, as you look back and as you reflect on it, like, what was the life change moment of the trip for you individually? I don't know what the answer to this is. That's funny because it's scripted and yet we still don't know. These are real curious faces.
I mean, it's hard to pick one particular spot, because I know for me, the minute that we got there, the first thing that Katie did was say, okay, ladies, we're making 75 sandwiches. And I'm like, wait, come again? What are we doing? Okay, let's go. And so we started making these sandwiches, and we weren't even there, 10-15 minutes, maybe?
Just
gotten there. Yeah, from the airport. And we're just slapping, sandwiches together. And, one of the things that was part of the first conversations that we had with Katie was, to make this sandwich, but to make it in such a way that it wasn't a matter of, oh, you'll be happy with what you get, right? It was to give your best, no matter what it is that you have. And so that was a shift in my perspective, because I grew up with you eat whatever's on your plate and you'd be happy with it, right? And to kind of shift that perspective, that's where it started to shift for me.
So it started almost immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Almost immediately.
Wow, that's really cool.
And the following day definitely rocked every thought I had or about the trip, just right off the rails.
So it's funny because that started, that kind of planted that seed, and then you saw it then play out the rest of the time that you were there.
The rest of the time that I was there.
Cool. So we'll talk about the next day in a minute. What about you ladies? What was the life change moment? I know this is going to be weird because we're popcorning all over, but this is my ADHD. It's great.
Alex, what was your change moment?
Honestly, I think for me, before we even got to Managua, just traveling with Sophie and Jen and being able to start forming that relationship. I don't know about you ladies, but I was like, I know when you go to a third world country with somebody and you're doing a mission trip and you're together for 24 hours a day and you're doing all these things together, I know we're going to have a tight relationship. Whether I hate them now or I love them now, at the end of this, we're going to be tight. And so to really see that start to come together in the beginning, and we were, just from the start, we were all so supportive of each other, and it just excuse me, it just really blossomed from there. So literally from the time we left, got on that plane, and we were all just I don't even know how to explain it, but just the community of the three of us, it just in the support was amazing.
And again, Alex, you saw that play out then the rest of the week, because having to lean on that support and having to lean on and rely on both people you didn't know down there, but even just your team down there to do things and just to literally carry you through some things.
Foreshadowing.
You like this? You like, right? That was kind of smooth, right? Life change moment.
I don't even think I can honestly answer that in one, with one moment, because they both said it was from the minute the decision was no longer just an idea and a reality. Like from that moment, every meeting, every step we took towards it, looking back, has now changed my life. In the moment, I thought they were all these huge, scary inconveniences, and nobody was giving us all the information. And I was convinced that I was gonna fall and that I was gonna ruin everybody's trip getting hurt. But I mean, just the like, as being a person in recovery and living a very long time without like true, genuine connections and feeling judged or whatever, like going there and the support that I received from each individual matched, from Katie and Larry's, like the acceptance in a place where just based off the culture, and we've talked about this before, the fact that I'm a woman, that I'm white, that I have tattoos, that I am in recovery, I had everything against me. And if I could go back tomorrow, I would be there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's funny because, like, you know, you guys are on the team, you watched Life Change Lounge, you've been a part of it, whether it's behind the scenes or whatever, but it's funny too, having to be on the spot to answer that question for yourself, because you're like, man, how do you narrow it down? Where do I go? So many things to capture, and then where do I take it? Like, it's just going to be fun to hear how that journey happens and how we kind of unpack this. You met Katie and Larry's down there, and you met a lot of people that you didn't know, in a culture you didn't know, in a language that you didn't speak. And for me, I think that was the life change moment for me, was being able to bring other people into a world that I'd been to, you know, that I've been invited to and I've been a part of a couple times. And have you experience the joy that I got into. Same thing with my family coming, and same thing with you guys being able to experience that joy. So what was, I know that you had the experience from serving the first day to being able to be accepted, right, to being able to form bonds. When was it immediately tested? When was it immediately, go ahead.
Sorry, you were right. The first thing we were asked to do, or one of the first things we were asked to do, was make sandwiches. But if we're gonna be real and honest, because I work an honest program, the first thing we were asked to do was serve dinner to the FC Lions.
Listen, I know they're watching too, so they're gonna be like, yo, thank you, Jennifer.
And we were happy to do so. We were so excited to be there. One of our main goals for going there was to have the soccer tournament. We were ready to meet everybody. But again, getting back to the culture piece, we're 3 strong women that we don't see anybody.
Right.
So, you know.
And so here you had me kind of breaking bread with the Lions and just chopping it up with them. We're talking about man stuff, and we're doing this all in Spanish. Y'all get off a plane after having traveled together and not done anything like this before, and hey, make sandwiches and serve these guys. You're like, I don't even know these guys.
Right.
But this showed kind of the reflection of your heart, how immediately you were able to shift your heart and say, okay, God, do what you got to do, right? I mean,
and we did all that, and they ate, and we were over there having the most amazing time making bologna sandwiches. Don't get me wrong. And then Salo called me over in this moment. I can't remember why, but introduced me to Brian, Carlos, and George, I believe. Brian and Carlos, to this day, we still keep in touch. Like, Brian will always be somebody special in my heart. Shout out to Brian. But Brian was the only one that could speak English. Right. And that was my first thing, like the fact that we could communicate, and the other 2 didn't speak any English, and yet still to this day we communicate. So I mean, human behavior and human relationships, you know.
Well, what's communicated is your hearts in the act of service, in the sandwich making, in the whatever it is, and even just sharing time together, was that your hearts were communicated. So even though we were so scared of a barrier like the language, your heart was able to still kind of transcend that and be able to kind of go through and show them really where you were coming from. And I think that's why you were also then accepted for all. Were there other challenges that you saw, not just that immediate, but what about you guys, Alex? So like when you saw some of the challenges of being in this culture where it changed kind of your perspective, it changed some of your relationships, it changed, you know, your ability to serve. Like, but what did you have to battle? Did you have to battle anything?
Oh, there was a lot to battle.
Yeah, every day was several battles in and of itself. Like,
salt on the emotions.
Salt on the emotions. There's a quotable. Good.
In the book.
It really was. And I think the thing that affected me the most was seeing these beautiful people, right, so eager to share of themselves with you, right, and to be proud of of what they are able to accomplish with what they have, right? There was this sense of pride and this eagerness and this willingness to invite you in.
Right.
And you're coming from this place where, like, in any normal circumstance, I would never find a person this happy to show me what they have in this setting. And
let
so,
alone to show strangers.
Strangers, yes, absolutely. Strangers with like arms wide open, just like, come here, look at this. Like, I'm just so proud.
Right.
Just to be honored
cool.
to have you there. And there wasn't like this, I'm better than you. It was like, I'm honored to have you in here with me. Like that alone, like, blew my mind.
Yeah. And I know I'm kind of shifting a little bit, but did that influence then as a result when you came back, how you conducted, because we'll talk about kind of the shift back, but did that change how you approach people here then? Because they were so welcoming and open-hearted. So then we come back to our culture here where things are a little different.
It was, again, an assault on the emotions to readjust and get back in. One thing that I'm really grateful for is the night before we came home, right? Katie did an excellent job of mentally kind of like preparing us and debriefing us for, we all had this amazing, enriching experience that like opened our minds to so much, right? And now we are coming back to, you know, our everyday life, and we're coming back changed. They are the same, right? And she gave each one of us just a little something different, one of which I look at every single day. It sits within my line of sight to remind me in my day job, right? To help that person find the good. Like, just see the good. I don't care what it is. And I think I say that at least once or twice throughout my day. It really depends.
That's funny.
But that helped me.
Yeah, so it lives in the day-to-day.
It does live in the day-to-day.
Challenge-wise, Alex, like, did you see something that kind of kept repeating, or was there an initial challenge? And as Alex is kind of unpacking this, be free to send the questions, comments, guys, because we'd love to field them, even if they're in Spanish. I can interpret them. So send the questions and comments because you're talking to the Life Change crew. What was the challenges?
I think Sophie said it so beautifully. I mean, just really.
Say it again, because. No.
Yeah, somehow I got coined as like the wordsmith of this trip, and I don't know how, because every time I don't have words, Sophie has the words, and it's amazing. It's really amazing to me to see these people, just like Sophie was saying, like genuinely just so happy to share whatever they had. Like, it didn't matter what it was, whether it was just their time or their story or their food, or, you know, they shared their market with us, which was amazing. I mean, they literally just opened up their hearts and their home and shared everything with us. And it was so incredible to be able to see that. I mean, and it was raw and real and unfiltered. And it was so, I mean, I feel so honored and blessed to have been able to experience that, because reality is that, like, we don't get that raw, unfiltered view of even, you know, our day-to-day interactions. Like, it's very sheltered. It's very, you know, very filtered. And, you know, we all put on this facade of, like, you know, happy face, and these people were just so amazingly real. And it was so
real. That's the word I was looking for. It was the realness to it. And there was a realness, a genuineness to the invitation, but also a genuineness to the conversation. This is just what it is, but we're still good, right? Even the barriers and saying, yep, that's real too, and yet we're cool. That reality, that ability to be real just really kind of leveled the playing field, made it more calm, made it more, you know, able for us to be able to connect, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So we were able to visit a church. Shout out to Pastor Marcos, right?
And,
Say it loud.
and Miss Maria.
There you go. So we saw some really cool people in an environment that's challenging, but there was a church there that was just welcoming, and a bunch of kids, right? That was part of the first things we did, right? First night, we were able to work with the soccer team, and we come back to that later on. Hung out with the church, hung out with some amazing people out there. That church experience was different. Why? Other than the obvious, right? There's obviously a socioeconomic sort of difference. So we know that. I don't want that to be the focus per se. What was so different, or what was so captivating about that environment?
Oh, the fact that they put their children in leadership, that to me spoke so loud. It was so incredible and empowering to witness, right? So they put on this beautiful program where these kids come in after school, they feed them, they have this wonderful program, but yet the children are the ones that are taking the attendance. The children are the ones that are keeping the program going, right? And so it was really cool to see these older kids take on these leadership roles. And so that's what stood out to me the most.
It was an empowerment sort of thing, right? Oftentimes, and especially in Latin culture, where it's like, yo, just go over there, don't be heard, right? Just go play the little kid stuff. And we do that even in our own culture. There is an empowerment and lifting up and a feeling of responsibility, right?
I think it was really cool because it was really like empowerment through service, right? Because those older kids were really serving the younger kids, right? But it also empowered them and it gave them that confidence, but it also helped the little kids like so much. Like they were just the little ones are so cute and they were just so happy to be there. And just, it was amazing. I mean, and it goes back to kind of what you were saying earlier, Salo, like, I don't speak a lick of Spanish. I don't know, but I'm sitting at this table of like 5 or 6 little kids and they're just talking to me like I totally know what's happening. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
I mean,
that's
I looked
awesome.
up at one point, somebody's coloring, somebody's running around dancing or playing like Duck, Duck, Goose. God only knows what was going on, but I'm like, what is happening here? Because none of y'all can speak Spanish. So who ordered this?
I had a 3-year-old put me in my place that I don't have a wedding ring on my finger. And it clearly came through.
That's hilarious.
Best day ever. Best conversation ever. But still, that is what I'm saying. Language means nothing.
And so again, the genuine connection and the realness, right? And then the ability to kind of follow through and the structure there, again, given a challenging environment, to have structure and order where there's such a draw to chaos maybe around you in your environment. And that's hard. So shout out to the pastors for being able to keep that and to be able to bring a spirit of hope, a spirit of Christ, whether that's the thing you agree with or not. They brought a live and a thriving church to an environment that's so challenging and distracting, right? And so those pastors are solid. So great people there, right? We went then to see Jeanette and hang out with Jeanette in the middle of Managua, and her ministry Mima. So shout out to Jeanette and her family. And you guys are smiling. Why? Why is everybody smiling so big? Shout out Jeanette and the fam.
Oh my goodness.
So many things happened.
Right. It was just amazing. Again, like the opening of her home and, you know, I got the VIP bathroom experience. That was amazing.
Which we got to clarify for people because it's not VIP like it was like solid gold throne sort of thing. We're talking houses with no light, right? So let's just be real. Like we're talking about like you can't flush the paper. So these bathroom experience for sure because it was really make sure that the queen was served, right?
Right. I mean, they walked me out to the bathroom. She opened the door. She got the light ready for me. She was like, here's the light. And I'm like, yes, and thank you.
To care for somebody who again, wait, the dog got excited on them. To care for somebody that we don't know, care for somebody that they didn't have to be obligated to, and to roll out as much of the red carpet as you could to get even sort of just a comfortable bathroom experience, right?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
So
it was incredible.
What else kind of stood out to you as we went and visited Jeanette and visited the area there or the kids or the people around there?
Her interest, for one, she was just a very sweet, very warm and welcoming individual. I loved her mother. She was adorable. I will learn Spanish before I come.
You were challenged. You were challenged directly.
She challenged
like
me
by
directly.
Name or something.
Yeah.
Right?
She grabbed me by the elbow and was like, you learn to speak Spanish before you
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I will. But also just going out and walking in the community that she serves, diligently every day, 6 days a week, was incredible just to see and witness that and be a part of that. And they had things to say to us, right? Like we weren't speaking life into them. Yes, we were a part. Yes, we were having these great experiences, but they were sharing and speaking life into us. Alex, you had a moment where this one lady.
I was gonna bring it up. I'm glad you.
She just was speaking directly to you. We were just vapor.
So this was all in Spanish. This is to a woman that you don't know, Alex, and this is in a community you don't know. there was a different sort of tinge to it. Why? What is it that grabbed you? Or what was it that, but even if it, like, dare I say, scared you, caught you off guard? Like, what was it?
I mean, well, for one, I feel like she like physically grabbed me. I don't actually remember if she physically grabbed me, but I
Okay. For the
She
record,
did.
she did.
she did. She physically grabbed me
You were
and
not
was
getting
talking.
off that street without
No.
hearing that message.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But it was necessary.
For you.
You had to hear the message because it wasn't a general message. It wasn't sort
No.
of like a blanket. It was to Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The message.
And it's so interesting. Like, again, I know this woman was speaking Spanish and I know that Katie was translating, but the reality is, like, in my world, in my perception, this woman was speaking directly to me and I understood everything to her, like that she was saying to me. And like, again, I know Katie was physically there translating, but like Katie
You wasn't
dropped
in
off. Right. Like everything else just dropped off and it was just her. And she really was just speaking to me and speaking about, you know, perfection and, you know, God's will and God's, you know, desire for us to not be perfect, but to just be ourselves. And it was just, it was incredible.
Facts. First of all, she was speaking truth and speaking directly to your heart, because that's something that grabbed you, Alex, right? Was like, this lady's talking to me, and not only in a different language, but talking some truth of things that she could never even know that that was directly on my heart and directly on my mind. And so there's this sort of spiritual connection, whether, again, you grab onto that or not, that you say, hold on, this is a little bit bigger than just me, right? This is bigger than life change, bigger than just the fact that we're just doing some nice things. This was a big deal, right?
Yeah, it was. I know that we all kind of processed it a little bit later, but it was really impactful. And like, I've told the story several times and I just cannot capture what that moment really was and really meant. Like the ability to capture it just eludes me consistently, which again, how I got labeled the wordsmith of this trip, I don't know, because I don't have the words.
I think what's funny, like, here's the spiritual sort of, I don't want to say the spin, but the spiritual sort of perspective on it is that when there's a bigger, a higher sort of calling, a higher power, or a stronger power kind of at work, it's so engaging and it's so captivating that it will leave you without words. You can't describe it. And so I think that because you're the wordsmith, Alex, and because you're not usually at a loss for words. Like, can we all agree? Like, she's always got something to say.
Yes.
Right? Like, let's just be
Something
real.
valuable.
I didn't say valuable. I just said something. All right. And then you go through an experience and you can't even put it in words, which says to you, there's something more going on here. And so we've got to continue, again, like similar to Sophie's question of how do you come home and then start unpacking something more of that as a result, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I said, I still don't have words. Like I just don't. I got nothing.
I love it. Jennifer, anything for you from that visit with Jeanette and them?
I mean, getting to speak with Christian, hi Christian, and a teenager, you know, and listening to him, and I work with teenagers, and it's, again, across the board, same thing, stress about school, what am I going to do with my life? You know, I at one point I was asked about my recovery story, and I don't speak publicly, and you know, it's very rare that somebody catches me off guard and I have to explain my whole history. And I could tell they were listening intently. I think you were translating the entire thing. And I didn't feel ashamed. I didn't feel embarrassed. I felt completely accepted by absolute strangers. And Jeanette gave me words of encouragement and love that will stick with me forever. I mean, I could go on and on. I could use all the words, and words are my favorite thing in the world, but nothing will explain it. And we all went through this coming back. I mean, I think we questioned you. Why did you do this to us? How did you
I think you did question me. And it was very direct and firm.
I don't think I spoke about it for the first 4 days outside of rushing through it with my daughter. It's something that I was so excited to share the entire time. I couldn't wait to get back. And then I got back and I wanted to protect it. I didn't want to cheapen it in any way. So
many people that go on a missions trip or a service trip or however you want to define it, right? We often look, especially as Americans, right? We look almost like from an entitled sort of perspective of what can I bring, what can I give to? And what I'm hearing you ladies say is that I got much more back than I did even being able to give. right? And it wasn't just financial, or it wasn't even just spiritual or physical, but I got so much more that I can't even put it into words, that I brought so much back that I couldn't even unpack it. I didn't want to cheapen it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
That's why we want to give this shout out. That's why I love this idea of bringing this wrap up, because I wanted Jeanette, I wanted Marcos, I wanted these guys, all of the people that we met down there, to see how much more they impacted us than we could impact them.
Absolutely.
Right? That's cool. That's really cool. So we had a little hiccup in the middle of the trip. Not going to really spend too much time on there, but there was a lot of blessings from that. We talked about Salo had this crazy idea.
Wait,
As y'all listen to the story.
which hiccup are we talking about?
So I just want to I want you guys to understand what we went through, okay? So like we got there Monday night, Tuesday we spent the day at the church we spoke about. Wednesday we spent with Jeanette, we spent with Jairo.
Oh, Jairo, yeah,
and his family.
Shout out,
and
Jairo.
their home.
Hi, Jairo.
Jasmine is my best friend. Shout out. That was a life-changing moment in itself, going to the market. But this was all designed specifically to show us the country and the culture and their values. And then we get to Thursday, which is our day, to process everything, to enjoy the beauty that is Nicaragua.
And it really was beautiful. I mean, there was a lot of trip to the conversations, to the scenery and these sort of things. Went to a lake at the volcano. And as I'm telling the story, guys, if we still got questions going on, send them in, please, on YouTube, on Facebook. Send the questions in. If we don't get it now, we'll get it later, please, because we're about halfway through this Life Change Lounge. We have this sort of down day, so to speak. We're hanging out, and Salo gets this crazy idea to go.
Tell them where we are.
Well, we're on. I mean, we were at a lake.
In a volcano.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
every day burns it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of water underneath us, right? It's probably like 4 feet of water. I think maybe 4 feet, and
the leaves are biting us.
Yeah,
the leaves.
I get challenged. I think to jump off of the docks, and so some of them were a little higher than others, and I was cannonballing and having a good old time. And I said, "Hey, Alex, join me." And Alex got the crazy wild hair to say, "I'll join you."
Absolutely.
Decisions were made.
Yes, they were.
I'll tell you, like, it was difficult. I'll tell you guys, when we talk about what was the life change moment, like, I still carry that experience. Alex ends up having an injury. That's pretty significant.
Let's just say what it is. I broke my leg in 3 places because I don't do anything halfway. I must do it all the way.
No, the trip be about Alex. So
right, that's really what it was. You're just an attention hog. Tell the truth. Truth comes out.
Listen, La Princesa was well cared for.
Now the Spanish comes out, right? Yo, so we have this experience. Alex jumps right after me, and I'll tell you, like, that was life-changing for me because there was so much. You guys, you know a lot of where it went from the planning, the processing, the finances, and all that sort of thing. And then we have this sort of this accident. I mean, it was just a freak accident.
It really was.
I mean, it just changed a lot of the perspective of things. So not to dwell on it so much, but there was a lot of blessings that came from it. We saw a community of people come together. Another missions team helped to carry Alex out of the water, help us out, get us to the truck.
Now we're not talking. Oh, sorry. There was nobody there hardly when we got there. It was just us, chilling and swimming. There is no clear way up out of this volcanic lake. So you have this rickety stairway to get up. And so there's really no real clear, easy path once she had broken her leg to get up. Right before she jumped off, this other team came in. There was at least 20, 25 people. Like they just came in a wave. And they couldn't have been there for more than like 5 or 10 minutes.
Almost just gotten there when you guys were, doing all that. They had just gotten there. I mean, there was a physical therapist, a nurse,
a lot of
multiple, strapping men. I mean,
Shout out to them if they're watching this. I appreciate y'all.
Church team from Texas. I don't even remember.
Stay strapping.
Their names, I apologize, but thank God for them.
But there were a blessing, again, a blessing at the right time. I think what I saw, right, to not so much dwell on the challenges that it was, but again, to see the sense of community, the resourcefulness, the ability to work together and to treat a situation that was really severe, that was serious. The ability to keep Alex focused on those sort of things, and to honestly, Alex, to keep you to keep an attitude that was healthy, and something that should not have been healthy. I mean, there was a lot.
We were literally laughing on this rickety ride through Nicaragua, where the car couldn't even get off the volcano with her in it. Once we got her around it, there was but God, there's no other way we got through. I mean, the fact that I think back that we were literally laughing in that car, like
right. While your leg
her leg is shattered.
So,
y'all would have thought we were at the comedy club. I mean, literally just kikiing it up.
Exactly. So what y'all didn't get to see in the blessings part of it, this is where, and Alex, I don't think it was so much intentional. Like, I know you wanted to keep as much of a positive attitude as possible. You knew how it was affecting all of us, me especially. But your ability to kind of just be Alex in the moment, because y'all didn't get to see her spitting game to the doctor. I mean, I think she got the doctor's number. I'm telling you, shout out to Doc, the orthopedic down there. I think she called him once or twice. Let's just be right. Like this. But again, just the ability to continue to be you and be used by God, be used in a situation that should have been challenging and shutting you down to still be you, right? I mean, it was amazing. It was a challenge. It shifted the attention of a lot of what we were doing. Because so that was Thursday.
We haven't even explained another reason why we were there. So once we made the trip, once we, committed to this, the whole thing was the soccer tournament that we wanted to put on. But Sal Ortiz LTSW has created what we call the BEDS protocol. And we had just this year gotten it copywritten. And our mission, one of our missions in Life Change, is to take over the world. So when we decided that we were going there, and upon conversations between Sal and Katie, they thought, why don't we train people in positions to use this protocol?
So bringing mental health and substance use training, BEDS protocol, this thing that came from the voices that go on in here and that you guys co-sign on, to bring down to a country that you guys don't know the language in, that we don't know a lot of the people. We met so many people, but here we are in the midst of, because that's exactly the best segue, Jennifer. We are in the middle of this tragedy and saying, this is serious. This is a serious thing. And this not only sucked a lot of the energy out, but what do we do now? Because we've got to care for our team member and we're just in a tough spot. Right. And so the attitude, I think the other life-changing moment of many was, now we got to press on. We came for a purpose. Right. So we had already been fed by so many people. And now we came for a purpose to be able to share something that we do up here. We're mental health professionals. We're peer recovery specialists, right? Like, we do this. And so we got to do that on Friday. Spoke to a lot of people there, right? I got to see, some old friends, got to see some ministry friends, right? Got to see a lot of cool people, right? Shout out to Jordan, shout out to gosh, how many other people? Pastors from Leon. What up, fellas?
It was so many.
We said we were coming
Stu
down.
for translating.
Thank you, Stu.
Hold up.
We skipped over that. Listen, I know I'm La Princesa, but Sophie had her moment. Let her have her moment.
Was that all right? So pause on the training, because we had this moment with Stu.
So this is Wednesday night before the tragedy.
Before the accident, the tragedy. Right. So Stu's got this spot down there on the coast. Right. Stu is a good dude. So Stu, you better be watching this at some point, because we're still going to connect with you. Stu decided he wanted to help us out because Sophie, what happened? What did you want?
I wanted to get baptized while I was down there and take my faith to the next level. And Stu provided the opportunity for me to do that in such a unique and wonderful way. I don't like public displays of things, so thank you. I was happy to move right.
She was like, as we were talking, she's like, I'm up the hook. Thank you, Jennifer.
We're all getting it real here today, though.
Because being baptized to me is, and as for anyone that goes through that process, a very special, very intimate moment with you and your Creator and the people that are there with you to witness that moment, right? It's an act of obedience, and it's just a definitely a life-changing experience.
I love this theme.
Yeah. But it was a beautiful moment, and I'm ever so grateful for the opportunity that he helped to present for me. So.
Just provided a beautiful backdrop, provided an environment where we could just relax and enjoy that and just be in that moment. Stu had volunteered to translate for this event that we were having on Friday, but just even getting to know him a little bit, and you guys giving him such a hard time when we were there.
Such a great
guy,
sport,
man. Stu, I still apologize to you, man. Like, sorry.
He gave it right back to us, and I love that.
Yo, Stu, really you need to send a comment in, man. I want you to give it to them for real, man. Like, don't stop, because he just was a gracious host and just a good person, a good-hearted person. Yeah. Again, just being able to see somebody open up and welcome people in.
Very humble man.
Yes. So we go and we minister to folks, Jordan and Marcos, all these guys, and we're teaching them about mental health and substance use, and we're teaching them about how to treat this in a culture that doesn't necessarily have the structure that we have here for caring for this type of need. And so it was a challenge. Not only was it the challenge of the language, I mean, I speak the language, but it was a challenge to try to communicate a protocol that nobody's ever heard of. Let's be real. Like, I want to be honest. They haven't heard of it yet, but we're coming, right? And then to explain why this was important and how you see the whole person. How did you see that impacting some of the people that when you talked to, because each one of you had a part to play in being able to explain beds, right? Being able to explain each quadrant. How did you see that kind of unpacking as you explained how to see the entire person that you minister to or that you go to help? Like, did you see that play out in some of the relationships or some of the conversations you had there?
Absolutely. The first thing that came to mind, and this is what helped me in preparation for the training, right? Because the thought running through all of our minds from the time that plane landed until Friday when we were there presenting our portion was, what in the world, how am I going to be able to break this down in a way that it's meaningful, impactful, that you can actually use, right? Jeanette really helped to break that barrier for me, especially when she talked about the challenges of caring for the children that she sees, right? So she addresses the behaviors while they're in her care, but then they go home and their environment really dictates their behaviors and how that changes. And it's that constant battle to help mold and restructure and show them the differences, right? So Jeanette really opened the door for that beautifully and provided a way. So that was really cool. That was how I came across that piece.
How did you guys see it? Like, beds, we're talking, for those who may not know, if you don't know, man, now you know. Beds, biological, environmental, developmental, social, right? Those are the 4 quadrants. That's what we talk about. Did you see that in, like, was there a challenge, was there an encouragement in some of the conversations in that, how trying to unpack that for people? Like, did you see, what kind of jumped out at you ladies with that? Like, how did they,
I was going to say, I think for me, the biggest part was really being able to see the light bulbs go off. Like, as we were talking, they're like, oh yeah, like they were putting the pieces together like on their own. Like it was just amazing to be able to see them and for them to be able to like relate it back to their own ministry and really just being able to try to come to terms with kind of what we were telling them and explaining to them. That was really incredible for me. Like that's cool. It's one of my favorite things.
Well, I think because too, like, granted, again, this was something that I drummed up. So I had this crazy idea, right?
Yeah.
I don't like this theme. I really don't.
Crazy idea.
But then you guys each owned it and carried it and were able to see it kind of come to fruition and be like, oh, like, yo, this is really taking. Like, it's not just a crazy idea that was born in Virginia Beach. Right. It's not just a crazy idea that I had. We can see how we can use this yourselves and everywhere for somebody else. Yeah.
For me, like, I get to be in the room when Sal does his presentation. So my favorite part about working for Life Change is and I do it when he makes a connection or when somebody understands what he's trying to say, or when I get it, it's just, it motivates me, and it's just an indescribable feeling. So my fear was to get there with all these culture barriers, language barriers, that it was going to be crickets and nobody was going to get it. They were going to disagree because of X, whatever, and the questions were the same questions we got here. They were making the connections, and I'm like crying, like over like people connecting Batman to this and that. And like, it was just beautiful, and each one of us got up there and I will never be able to
I think
describe
that's
that.
the cool part, Jen, right? Like you see when you translate, when you bring truth, when you bring something that's accurate, right? One of my sayings, right? Truth is truth regardless of the setting, right? So when you see the truth that's brought out, it's not just an American truth or a Virginia Beach truth or substance use truth, but it's bringing this truth into another culture and another environment, and it still rings true, right? That's really cool. For me, like I'll tell you real quick, it was part of it was the social barrier. When we talk about beds and we talk about social norms, you know, we wrestled with this. And yeah, I could be received a little better as the male and speaking Spanish or whatever, but I was wearing shorts and tattoos are perceived a little bit differently.
You have
down
a
there.
team of 3
And I got a team of 3 women that are speaking on some of these things, right? So the social norms and being able to receive truth, the ability that you ladies had to deliver truth, and for them to be able to receive it and be willing to, and then engage and say, hey, how do we do this? And so part of what we want to do is continue the training, continue the learning, continue the connection. And that's what Life Change will do, is that we will connect. We will continue to talk monthly and be able to bring sort of that guidance of how to bring mental health and substance use treatment and care to see the whole person. So that's exciting. That was really, really cool.
It was one of my life-changing moments was for me, you know, like I said, with my lack of speaking in public, especially about a topic so intimate, and to see across the room that they could change their perspective on what an addict is.
Right.
You know, that they see me up there with you, who they hold in high regard, and on Katie's property, who La Jefa, is that how we say
La
it?
Jefa, you said it right.
You
Shout out to
know,
La
Katie
Jefa.
is my girl. But like that was, you know, and again, like that's important to me, like to know that we all matter, addict or not, or crazy, you know, whatever you want to say your label is, you matter regardless.
That's right.
And we brought that through.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, kind of to connect what Jen was saying and what you were saying, you know, like Jen was saying, like she had this huge fear of like kind of it falling flat and not really reaching. And like, Salo, you have a very unique presentation style and you're very engaging. Like you very much want to engage with your audience. And at the beginning of this, they did not want to engage. They're like,
rough.
Who is he talking to?
Yeah.
Like, and like you were telling jokes and they were falling flat. And I was like,
don't tell everybody this, Alex, because everybody thinks that this just grabs them all at once.
Good to say that though, because that just shows you how impactful it was that they went in there ready to disprove anything we had to say.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Not maliciously, just because
they don't know.
Right.
I mean, they didn't owe us anything. Right? They don't know what we're bringing to the table. And equally for us, we're bringing something that's foreign to a culture that's foreign to us. Right? So there's a lot of reasons for it not to take. And in the beginning, what's funny about that, Alex, is that in the beginning, it wasn't connecting. And real quick, we can say, nope, plan B or plan C, and we're willing to bail. But we have to kind of stick to this truth, to this path, to a calling to see it play out. Right?
But by the end of it, they were right there with you, right there with you. And it was amazing.
And that's what I'm most thankful for. Just being able to say, wow, like this is for real. I think that we really know that we're doing real impactful work. We're really doing a life change thing with the work that we do mental health wise, what we do substance wise.
What was Jordan's travel itinerary that day? That man was up at 4 a.m. on buses, this, that, and the third to get, it was that important to him to get there. And I only know his itinerary that day. I don't know what everybody else went through, but I know it wasn't an easy task to get to that property and sit there in the sun for how many hours? I mean, it wasn't a short thing.
No.
It was beautiful.
So I will say this, thank you to everyone that participated in that, everyone that couldn't catch up, but we'll catch you on the next round. Thank you, everyone who participated and was willing to listen, willing to be open to receiving information to see how it applies. We're grateful. I am grateful. Really grateful for that. So Saturday we had a soccer tournament. It was the original sort of crazy idea. As we're wrapping up, I know we've got a few minutes. We got to hit this because the FC Lions, man, they represent. I'm gonna tell you what, they the baddest team. I'm sorry if I'm dissing anybody else, but they the baddest team in Nika. I'm telling you. So we hosted or helped to host a soccer tournament, and it was funny because in planning, it's already established teams, and that's not how it worked out. And so we were able to see Larry's really do the work that he does in building relationships. Larry's man, you are the dude. Like, to be able to just form relationships with people, say, hey, we got a thing going, let's go. We had what, 6 teams? 6 teams that participated, different ages. We're able to provide lunch. We're able to provide trophies and awards, and that's great. But even give us sort of a talk in the middle of it, but just to see the sense of community and coming together. And look, this is my crazy perspective from an American culture. There was no fighting. There was no like beefing. There was no like, I'm gonna take your shoes. Like, there was none of these things that we may have seen in sporting events or right. There's a lot of trash talking, but it's sports. But it was good nature, right? There was the ability to keep the field clean, a willingness to encourage each other. We saw I think a 12-year-old score on a 20-year-old, and we're right. Like, it was amazing. The skills were amazing, but it wasn't just about the soccer skills. What spoke to you about the tournament and our ability to be able to participate with Connect to host a tournament?
The energy was nonstop from the moment that gate flew open to the moment that everybody cleared the field. It was nonstop positive energy the whole way through. Like, it was just fun to watch. Like, I just had a ball watching it.
That's cool. That's really cool. What about you guys? What spoke to you? What really jumped out at you?
Okay, let's be clear. La Princesa was in bed with her leg propped up during the entire tournament.
Slacker. It was La Slacker is what I said.
La Princesa. Get it right. Okay.
No doubt.
No, but it was, I mean, and I didn't get to see it and I didn't get to participate, and I am disappointed. But even still, like, I know for a fact that Sophie and Jen were running around like chickens with their head cut off. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning, like, those relationships formed and they never failed to come check on me. Hey, you good? You need something? You need water? You need whatever. And then they'd run right back out and keep doing what they were doing. Come back. Hey, you good? Okay. You need help? Nope. You need, I mean, just that.
That's really key. I think it was the desire to keep you included, even though physically you couldn't be present. It was the desire to keep included. Again, that sense of community connection, that drawing in. That was really huge. That's really cool. What I mean, you gave shout outs to the Lions themselves.
Wow. Circling back to my friend Carlos and I, and Monday night, we had made a bet that I never in a million years thought that I would ever go through with, because if you know me, if you see me running, the cops are following me, or there's a fire, or it's danger. So the bet was I don't even remember, but something had to happen and I would run.
Something had to happen. That's how we're. I think there was some money that was discussed. Do not bring me into
but not that I forgot, but so much was going on that, the week went on and whatever. And at the end of the soccer, everybody's hanging out after the soccer thing. And Carlos, we're saying our goodbyes, and he comes up and he reminds me of this bet. And wouldn't you know, Jennifer Ann Vaso ran for the first time of her life willingly,
not from the cops,
not from the cops or danger, just because she wanted.
No, and I will
Carlos
say this. No, tell the whole story, because Carlos was looking back the entire time laughing because Jennifer Vaso's little legs looking like Mikey Mouse, like she could not move. He's like, "What are you even doing? Is that running? Like, what was
running in place?" And I think
man, I just think, but again, the genuineness, right? The ability to connect with people, the genuineness of it, the good-natured fun. And it's even with people that weren't on the Lions. It's just being able, like, I was able to share like little videos and snippets of people from the community that were playing. I was like, yo, I got this video here, send it on WhatsApp. They're like, yo, thanks for the video highlight. Everybody likes a highlight reel. I mean, we had like the ESPN to put this sort of highlights, top 10. Like, it was on point. They were amazing. So, man, it was a great way to cap off that trip.
R. Edwards is asking, when are we going back?
It's a really good question, because immediately that was a discussion, right? Hey, we're coming back. Hey, we're coming back. It was prophesied that we would be back in December. Jennifer said, I'm never leaving. I think we had to like pull her out from under the bunk.
It wasn't for my daughter, I would now live in there. Thank you. Virtually hit me up.
Is it a reality to want to go back? I know you had a great life-changing experience, right? And good and bad, right? There was challenges with it. But why Nicaragua? Why go back? Is there a desire to go back?
Absolutely.
Why?
Yeah.
Continue. There's more work to be done.
More work meaning what?
More work to see what they were able to use as far as like Bed's protocol, problem solve. Maybe I could imagine that there are some other things that we could follow up on to help them support the communities that they serve more impactfully. I don't know.
Yeah.
Word
fair.
queen, what do you think?
Word queen.
Oh, I was about to say,
Why go
the self-
back? Alex, this wasn't even on your radar. Like you guys said it at the top. You're like, yo, I don't do mission trips. I don't do foreign countries. I don't serve men that I don't know. Like, and you want to go
Right.
back? And I break a leg and you want to go back?
I mean, honestly, selfishly, the relationships, right? Like the relationships that we built with the community and the people there, like they were life-changing. I don't have any other words for it. I mean, we didn't even get to talk about like the conversation that we had with Jairo and how impactful that was for me. And like you guys said, I turned into a messenger that day, whatever.
All
It's
facts.
fine.
All of it.
All facts.
Was incredible.
So in the
to watch.
beginning of the week, we get, the spirit being spoken into you. And then by the end of the week, you're the one delivering spirit-filled messages to somebody in a language that
And
you
it's
don't even
still
speak.
continuing to this day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Jairo, gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
I forgot.
What was the
Why go back?
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about our experience with Katie. Like that needs to be a
Oh yeah, that's a whole other
Right,
thing.
This is something I've given Katie permission to share about, but like me and my insecurities and nonsense was convinced until Alex broke her leg and it was just me and Katie in a waiting room that woman hated me on site and couldn't wait to get me off her property. And now at this moment, she is one of the closest people to my heart. Yeah. We made such a connection while you were in there flirting with the doctor and getting all the attention.
I mean, living my best life, okay?
Right, living your best life in a Nicaraguan hospital. And Katie and I are out there just sharing our souls, and the connection there is just unmatched. Yeah. I mean, so selfishly, just to get to know her better, I want to go back. My friend FC Lions, my friend Larry's, and Choco Banana, Alexa.
Yes. Alexa the hustler. She's the realest gangster of all Nicaragua. I'll tell you that right now.
Just the people.
But look, like we go with these predispositions, we go with these prejudgments, we go with these sort of thoughts, these barriers that we carried in, and they all get torn down in ways that we didn't expect, ways that we didn't see. I think it was almost like we have to prove that these barriers and these things are true. Like there is a gap, there is an inability to connect, and it's not true. I think that's part of what it is, and I think that's really what spoke is that in a larger collective, there is no barrier. We can find a way to connect. On a personal level, you were able to find a way to connect, even with your own shortcomings, even with your own challenges. I mean, look, let's just be real. If y'all didn't know, Life Change is jacked up. We're not normal people, right? And each one of us found personally a way to connect with people and connect in very intimate ways. That's huge. That's really, really cool.
So to answer Mr. Edwards' question, we will be going back. Yes. I don't think it'll be December, but nobody knows. God does a lot of things that he doesn't tell us about in advance, but we will be going back.
Listen, if I could just get like a shortened, like annotated memo or of some sort, that'd be great.
Right. You're the messenger, you know.
You tell us what God is saying. You
I'm waiting for you to tell me the date.
You're the prophet. You are the prophet of the team. So.
Oh, y'all, if I'm prophet, we are all in trouble, okay?
We are planning on going back. We do want to see exactly what you said, Sophie. We want to see the beds and the work that we do as professionals down there. We want to see soccer, the soccer tournament sort of grow more and impact more people and connect people. We want to open it up. This was a really good experience for us as a team to try something different. That was really challenging. Yeah. Now that we've been there, done that sort of thing a little bit, we can try to open it up to other people. And so we're wanting to do that. And so you're right. I don't know exactly. We don't have set plans. We've got to talk to Katie and Larry's. I would encourage everyone, this is sort of the plug part, to go to Connect Nicaragua's website, to check out Connect, to see what they're about, and know that you can bring your own team there, that they're willing to have people sharing an experience that is so enriching and engaging. So
yes. And just to speak about Katie for a second, she is amazing. Like, I mean, I had my own obvious issues with going on a missionary trip. I was like, for sure, I'm getting struck by lightning as soon as we come onto this property. Like, I'm not gonna make it off this property. But I mean, Katie was just so welcoming, and
Yeah.
She was right there with the people of Nicaragua, willing to be open and raw and vulnerable. And it was just incredible because it's really not, that's not been my experience with people of God. That's not been my experience with missionaries. That's not been my experience with the church. And so to see that, it was so incredible.
Again, the real coming out, right?
Yeah.
Real recognize real.
Real recognize real. Look, we will definitely have Katie and Larry's on here. I got to give a shout out to my man Dwight. I don't know.
Dwight!
Me and Dwight.
Hey, Dwight.
So I just want you to know, right from Heido to Dwight to the dogs to whatever, like there was just a lot of great things. As we wrap up, ladies, I want to please y'all continue to send in questions and comments because we will field them both in Spanish and in English. But wrap up with this one question because I know we went over and I want to respect the time. It's funny how time flies when you're having fun, right?
Right.
To me, life change in Nicaragua means what? And now you can take that however you want. But I want you to kind of finish that one because usually we ask life change means because I want people to be able to kind of give an expanded sort of definition that's not just dictionary definition. To you ladies, life change in Nicaragua, however you interpret that statement to be, means what?
Me first.
Me.
La Princesa.
That's right. La Princesa. It's going to seem corny, but shortly, connect, right? Life change in Nicaragua means connect. And I mean that in so many different ways, like for us to connect with each other, for us to connect with the people there, for us to connect with Katie and Dwight and Larissa and all of that. I mean, just the connections and the relationships and the amazing experience. I mean, literally, I don't think we have touched in depth on any one experience that we had. And I literally think we could sit here and talk for hours about the experiences that we've had. But I think it comes down to that is connecting and the connection.
Yeah. Again, looking at Alex, right, from that, you're not from a huge city, right? You live in a small town, you do big time work in a small, and God could life uses you in such a way to connect with somebody so far away in such an intimate way. That's awesome. That's really cool. To me, life change in Nicaragua means.
I don't know that I could follow that any better. La Princesa got
Word
it,
Smith, word queen.
Hit the nail right on the head because life change and connect is such a precious, like it's just precious. I think that's why it's difficult to talk about, difficult to share, but that connection, Katie said to learn to smile with your eyes, and that, hits home with me every difficult moment that I've had from that moment to now is to learn to smile with my eyes. And it's just precious to me.
Yeah.
There are no words.
Life change in Nicaragua means learning to smile in more ways than just with your mouth, but with your eyes. Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. So life change means Nicaragua life change means what?
But it means, consistently being allowed to be who you are and knowing that you matter despite just period.
Yeah.
You matter.
Yeah. I think for me, ladies, it's life change Nicaragua life change to me. It means being the ability to be used by God in a unique and a special way with the talents and challenges that I bring, and just to be able to have that experience and to know that not only that you can be utilized, but you can connect, like you have said, with people who matter as well.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just fun to know that you serve purpose, that you have meaning, and that you can then bring meaning and connect in somebody else's meaning, because we didn't bring the meaning to anybody there.
No, absolutely
right?
not.
But that we were able to connect with that meaning and then just have this shared experience, not just as a team, but with a new sort of expanded family down there. It was really cool, man. It was so much to unpack, and even trying to transition back home. We might have to do a part 2. We'll be able to chop it up, even one-on-one. Y'all send questions and comments and we'll talk to you about what the transition was like. So there's a lot more to really talk about. We didn't even get to give a shout out to everyone, and that's not trying to be mean or rude. It's just so many things that we did, but to everyone that we were able to connect with down there, man, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You changed our lives, and we pray that we made some sort of impact on yours. Fair to say?
Fair.
Yeah.
Man, ladies, was that worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. When are we going back?
The question leading up to it was why Nicaragua? Why us? Why now? And leaving, we don't have any answers, but we understand now why.
Right. It's hard to put into words, but yeah, there is a why. I appreciate your willingness to share your journey. I appreciate your willingness to share your intimate parts of this story. We know that many people have an intimate story, an intimate journey, but just to be real about how you were willing to be used, how you were willing to step out on faith, and then see such a huge return. I mean, that speaks a lot to what Life Change Lounge is, what Life Change Institute is, right? Just being used by God in a unique way, right? Truly, right? The tagline, to transforming lives to what they were meant to be. I think you were in this role of doing what you were meant to be doing. So keep doing it. And so I'm inspired by y'all. I pray that you continue to get to inspire others. And to everybody down in Nicaragua, man, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your world down there. So,
And I just want to deeply thank the three of you, because the bond that we created on that trip is unmatched, and I've never experienced anything in my life like this. So
very
thank
real,
you.
very real.
Agreed.
We're hugging you from here.
I don't know what that was, but yeah, whatever that was, that was more like a, like, were you dancing? I don't know. You have to be. Yeah, like, wow. So listen, that's the end of the Life Change Lounge. We appreciate y'all. Please continue to send the comments, questions, and we love that we were able to connect with y'all. Until the next time we do Life Change Lounge, this is Sal Ortiz and the team saying,
Transform your life.
transform your life to what it was meant to be. Bye, Alex.
Bye.